I am the victim and I'm the one that's silenced. And I don't think that's right.
What were your alternatives?
Case not closed. I would just become another number that got victimised and bullied.
Leanne is an electrician. Early in her career, she signed a non-disclosure agreement after being sexually harassed.
Bullying, homophobic comments, sexual suggestive comments, and it was a bit of a pack mentality.
So you escalate this.
Mm-hmm.
How's the complaint handled?
So a few of the times it was boys will be boys. He's harmless. He's just having a joke. You're not the only one it happens to.
Leanne decided she had to quit.
I felt broken. I did contemplate never returning to the industry. It had gone on for so long that I actually contemplated suicide. But then the part of me was like, if I don't do this, I've given up and they get what they want.
Leanne documented her harassment and took it to the lawyers.
They were shocked.
They were shocked?
Yes.
Wow.
They deal with it a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, my lawyer said this is one of the worst cases that they've sort of had to work through.
Leanne's workplace denied the allegations and the case was taken to mediation.
So my matter was settled in that conciliation and case closed effectively.
So what do you mean by settled?
So I signed the NDA.
Why did you sign it?
To finalise.
Yeah.
It is very common to have to sign one to get it done and dusted.
Yep.
I regret it immensely.
I think that NDAs have become a really standard resolution term. What we know is that in sexual harassment settlements, they're overused and they're misused.
Regina Featherstone and Sharmilla Bargon asked other Australian lawyers why they use NDAs so frequently in sexual harassment claims.
They're misused because they're the standard go-to resolution tactic. So they should be used as a term if both parties agree to their use.
And both parties don't always agree. Karen refused to sign an NDA.
So I was terminated from a position after I put in a sexual harassment complaint. Single income household, still had 2 kids living with me, and a carpet just got pulled out from underneath me.
Karen worked in the building industry as a contract administrator.
In my case, it was uninvited touching with legs. The whole thing is they deny, but there's no denying how I felt at the time. You don't want to go get your lunch out the fridge in case they're there. You see their car in the car park and go, they're here today.
Karen made a formal complaint. She says she was then sidelined from projects and eventually let go by the company. She lodged a sexual harassment case, which also ended up in mediation.
I flatly refused to sign an NDA.
So you're pretty determined at that point?
You couldn't put a price on it, Waleed, of what you could pay me to shut me up. What would it take if you sign a document that's legal to say you can't talk about this with anyone, we can't call the company on any sort of bad behaviour forever, can't even talk to my kids.
The biggest issue that we have found is that the person doesn't know either way whether they could or couldn't sign it, whether they should or shouldn't. And that's really problematic. I've had multiple women come to me since we've done this research asking to get out of their NDAs because they said that when they signed it, they didn't know that there was any other option and they were told that this is how you settle something.
If you sign an NDA, does that usually accompany a payout of some description?
It's just the standard term that's put in front of the client and said, well, if you want to resolve this claim, here's the terms. If you want the money, the damages settlement, you have to agree to it.
If a perpetrator stays in the workplace and they sexually harass other people and it comes out that an NDA has been used, that can absolutely work against an employer's long-term best interests. And it would be better for an employer to acknowledge that they've had some sexual harassment in the workplace and instead focus on what they're doing about it to stop it happening to anyone else.
So when you say you regret it, what do you wish you'd done?
I wish I could name names. I wish I could name companies.
Does it say how long you have to remain silent?
So I will never be able to talk about the terms of the agreement, but I can talk about my story as to what happened to me, how it happened, I just cannot name the perpetrators or the company.
Are you allowed to tell me whether you can tell anyone, for example, family or therapist?
Can't even tell my parents.
You can't tell your parents. Is that hard?
Yes. Because they're the people that you're supposed to talk to about everything.
Yeah. Would it be fair to say that you could solve a fair chunk of this if victims in sexual harassment situations had better legal representation?
Most lawyers do not provide advice that NDAs are optional. And it's really problematic for solicitors because we have very strict ethical obligations to provide clear and timely advice.
I feel guilty every day that these people are out there and there's no repercussions for them. There's absolutely no repercussions for what they did to me.
Do you think that there's a place for NDAs, or do you think there's something rotten at the heart of the whole idea?
There is something rotten because one person is silenced, the other person, it benefits them to be silenced.
Reach out. Reach out. There's so much support out there. You do need to put your hand up and ask for help and be brave.
How's your career now?
I've become an electrical supervisor. I've, trained apprentices. So I've just been lucky that I've stuck it out and have proved that I belong. Yeah, I love it.